A trailer like this does not just show scenes, it shakes you in a way that stays in your mind long after it ends. The Madison Season 2 trailer is not what anyone expected. From the very first moment, it feels heavier, darker, and more emotional than before, like something big is about to break apart in the story. And the strange part is, you can feel it even without knowing all the details. Something has changed in this world, and it is not going back to how it was. Season 1 left people with a lot of questions, and even more feelings that were never fully settled. The story ended in a way that made fans sit in silence, trying to understand what just happened to these characters. Nothing felt complete. Every relationship had tension, every decision had consequences, and every ending felt like a new beginning of pain or truth waiting to be uncovered. That unfinished feeling is exactly what makes Season 2 so powerful even before it begins. Now the trailer opens with a mood that feels completely different. It is not bright or hopeful anymore. There is a quiet sadness in the way everything is shown. The characters look like they are carrying weight that is too heavy for them. Even the smallest moments feel important, like every look, every silence, and every stare is hiding something deeper. It feels like everyone is pretending to be fine, but no one actually is. As the trailer continues, you start noticing that nothing is simple anymore. The relationships that once felt strong now look broken in small but clear ways. Friends are not looking at each other the same. Trust feels weak. There is distance between people who used to be close, and that distance says more than words ever could. You don't even need dialogue to understand that something went wrong after Season 1 ended. What makes it even more intense is how the emotions are shown without explaining too much. You see pain in silence, you see regret in small expressions, you see fear in moments where no one is speaking. It feels like the story is no longer about just what happens outside, but about what is happening inside each character's mind. And that is where Season 2 starts to feel more serious and more dangerous than before. There is also a strong feeling that something new is coming into their world. Not everything is familiar anymore. The trailer shows hints of change, like a shift in power, a hidden truth, or a decision that cannot be undone. It does not fully reveal what it is, but it makes you feel like everything is about to be tested. Every character might be forced to choose sides, and not everyone will make it through the same way they were before. By the end of this opening section of the trailer, you are left with a strange mix of emotions. You feel curious, but also a little uneasy. You feel excited, but also worried for the characters. It is the kind of feeling that makes you want answers immediately, but also makes you afraid of what those answers might bring. And that is exactly why this Season 2 trailer stands out. It does not just continue the story, it deepens it in a way that feels like everything is about to change forever. Season 1 of The Madison ended in a way that left a heavy silence behind it. Nothing felt fully resolved, and that is exactly why people are still thinking about it. The story did not give easy answers or clean endings. Instead, it left every major character standing at a point where their lives were changed forever, whether they were ready for it or not. The final moments were not about victory or loss alone, but about consequences that would continue to grow even after the screen went dark. What made Season 1 so powerful was how it built emotional pressure slowly. At first, everything looked simple from the outside, but as the story moved forward, layers of truth started to come out. Relationships that once felt stable began to crack under hidden secrets. Trust between characters started to weaken as choices from the past came back in unexpected ways. Every episode added more weight until it became clear that nothing in this world was going to stay the same. By the end of the season, most characters were not standing in comfort anymore. They were standing in confusion, regret, or emotional conflict. Some of them were forced to face truths they had been avoiding for a long time. Others had to deal with the results of decisions they thought they could control. The important thing was that nobody walked away unchanged. Even the strongest bonds between people started to feel uncertain, like they were hanging by a thread that could break at any moment. Another key part of Season 1 was how it treated relationships. It showed that love, friendship, and loyalty are not always stable. They can shift when pressure becomes too much. Some characters drifted apart without even realizing it was happening. Others stayed close, but were no longer honest with each other. These emotional changes were not loud or dramatic all the time, but quiet and slow, which made them feel more real and painful. The final episodes especially focused on choices that could not be undone. Once certain lines were crossed, there was no way to return to how things used to be. That created a strong feeling of uncertainty for the future. It was clear that the next chapter would not be about fixing things easily, but about dealing with the damage that had already been done. Every character was left with something unfinished inside them, whether it was guilt, unanswered questions, or emotional pain they did not fully understand yet. What also stood out was how Season 1 ended without giving full closure. Instead of wrapping everything up neatly, it opened more space for tension. It made the audience sit with questions about what would happen next. Who can still be trusted? Who will change after what happened? And who will never be the same again? These questions were left hanging intentionally, building anticipation for what comes next. That is why Season 2 already feels so important, even before fully beginning. The foundation of Season 1 was built on emotional conflict and unresolved tension, and now all of that is carried forward. Nothing was fully fixed, nothing was fully healed, and nothing was truly over. Everything was simply paused at the worst possible moment, right before the next wave of change begins. The opening moments of the trailer immediately shift the entire mood into something colder and more controlled. Everything feels slower at first, almost like the world is holding its breath. There is a clear difference in tone compared to what viewers remember from Season 1. Where there was once emotional chaos mixed with hope, now there is restraint, silence, and a kind of emotional distance that feels unsettling. It is not loud or explosive, but it feels heavier in a way that is hard to ignore. The visuals suggest that time has passed, but not in a way that healed anything. Instead, it feels like time has made things more complicated. The characters are shown in brief, fragmented moments that do not explain much on their own, but together they build a strong feeling that something has been broken for a while now. Even the environments feel changed. Places that once felt familiar now appear more empty or emotionally cold, like they are holding memories that nobody wants to face anymore. As the trailer continues, it becomes clear that the story is no longer just about events happening one after another. It is now about pressure building inside every situation. Small moments carry more meaning than before. A simple look between two characters feels loaded with history. A short silence feels like it is hiding a truth that neither side wants to speak out loud. This shift makes everything feel more intense without needing any major action scenes. There is also a noticeable focus on emotional distance. Characters who once felt connected now appear to be holding back from each other. It is not always clear why, but the gap between them feels real. Some scenes suggest that conversations have already happened off-screen, conversations that changed everything but are never shown directly. That choice makes the trailer feel more mysterious, because the audience is left to imagine what was said or done between these moments. The editing style in this part of the trailer also plays a big role in building tension. Instead of long, continuous scenes, everything is shown in quick, broken pieces. A glance here, a movement there, a half-spoken moment that ends before it fully forms. This kind of structure creates a feeling that nothing is fully stable anymore. It is like the story itself is refusing to stay still, constantly shifting just out of reach of full understanding. What stands out most in these opening scenes is the emotional weight behind every character's expression. Nobody looks fully at peace. Even when there is no dialogue, their faces tell a story of internal conflict. Some look like they are trying to hold themselves together, while others seem like they are already struggling with something they cannot control anymore. This quiet, emotional storytelling is what gives the trailer its strong impact. There are also subtle hints that something new has entered their world. It is not fully explained, but there are moments that suggest change, disruption, or outside influence that is affecting everything we already know. These hints are not loud or obvious, but they are enough to make it clear that the story is moving into a more dangerous and uncertain direction. By the time this opening section of the trailer begins to settle, it has already created a strong shift in expectation. It is no longer about continuing the past in a simple way. Instead, it feels like the past is now something the characters are being forced to deal with in a deeper and more painful way. Nothing feels light anymore, and even the smallest moments carry the weight of everything that came before it.